corporates drive the woman agenda, but it is always easier for a woman to drive a woman's agenda in the workplace because we feel more connected to the agenda. We understand the agenda because we too are women. So in everything that we do in corporate, if we are to recruit women, it is us who recruit women. It is us who ensures the development, the mentorship, the coaching of women in the workplace. I am where I am today because of other women also empowered me, who supported me, who coached me, who mentored me within the workplace. I mean, I could mention the likes of Lungwin Dlovu, who's late from Vodacom. I could mention the like of Peter Jones, who's also late, was a great mentor to me. Those are the people who supported me in the workplace. So there has been great strides in South Africa in particular, in affirming women, in recruiting women, in empowering women, and mentoring them and bringing them up to where we are in South Africa. The question is, have we done enough? No. Yes, there's still room for improvement. We can see that we still, at the JSE, we still have very few women who are JSE CEOs in our country. We still know that there are very few women in the boardroom in our country. So there's still a lot of work that we can still do. And especially, I'd like to urge all those female leaders in the corporates. It's up to you to drive the agenda. Don't expect, there will be some men who will support you and help you, but the biggest prerogative lies with the women themselves to support other women and to grow them and to develop them, because that is the only way we can win that agenda.
Nice, thanks, Bess. You also mentioned a very great point when you say it starts with you as a woman, with us. You said it starts with us, because in most cases you always hear women saying, but men are not doing anything, but men are not doing this. But what are you doing as a woman, what are you doing from your side to push your own agenda? How long are women going to wait for men to push a women agenda? Great point. Thanks, Bess. And next we've got Lauren Kolleh. Lauren is a young, dynamic woman all the way from Liberia. She's an advocate for women upliftment and excellence. She's a 2016 fellow of the Young Political Leadership School. She's also a 2017 fellow of Yali Cohort 8 Gimpa in Ghana. She's a fellow of the Women in African Power. So she's very, very passionate about women issues as well. She hails all the way from Liberia. So maybe to you, Lauren, it will be, what have you seen as struggles of young women?
Okay, hello everybody. And thank you, KG, for giving us this opportunity. I feel so honored to be among great women and to talk about something that I feel so comfortable talking about any day, anytime. So one of the major struggles I think that we young people or young women are faced with is fear. We are afraid to start a new beginning. We are afraid of taking steps. We are afraid of taking challenges. There are a lot of things that males are doing, especially within my field, technology. There are a lot of males that are in it in women. And the fact that you're there, the fear of overcoming those obstacles is what is the major problem we young women are faced with. We are afraid to take the step to do something new. Our next question is, what will people think about me? Am I doing the right thing? So it's just try something. Every little step you take along the way is a procedure for you to get to your final goal. But major struggle that we are going through as a young people, especially women, is the fear. I'm afraid that I might be a mother one day. What happened to my career? And I'm so glad that we have single mothers here who are doing extremely well. And that shows that young women can overcome those fears. So people are afraid of little things, how to balance their work life, how to balance my relationship, how to balance myself with my education. So the fact that we're allowing those fears to come over us, I think that's a struggle that we're going through.
Oh, I love that. And I guess some of the fears, you're talking about a very a key thing. Fears are coming from our social cultural environment. some of them, how you were raised as well as a woman to say your place is here. So now when you find yourself outside that place, there's a fear that comes with that. And we'll come back to those social cultural, barriers that are impacting women. Thanks for that, Lauren. And then we move to Nula Enders. Nula, she's a BSc student. She actually has a BSc in engineering. She's got a certificate in women in leadership from University of Delaware. She's passionate about self-acceptance, and she uses her voice to amplify women issues and women empowerment. Nola also hails from Liberia, and she's currently writing a book about children, and it's a children's book. However, the book is about women who defied the status quo and who broke up the limits. So Nula. Nula.
Hi KG, hi everyone.
So to me is, what is it, what are those status quos that you're writing about?
Okay, so for me, storytelling has played a major role in my life. Personally, it has had a major effect on me. So I feel like if young girls can hear stories about great women, especially in Liberian society, that's not something you hear every day, like President Sirleaf. I mean, like Lehman Bowie. These are people that you would think that you would expect that Liberian people would know about these women, but that's not the case. So the stories you hear are more about strong male figures. So like, yeah. So basically, those are the kinds of stories I'm trying to write. So and there's the first female chief in Liberia, from Swakopmund County. That's somebody that nobody knew about. Even I was 21 years old before I got to know her. So I feel like that would play or impact young women a lot more if they get to hear stories about women who broke the barriers, who defied status quo and all that. So yeah, those are the kinds of stories I'm interested in.
Great one, great one. I think Barbara will fall in love with you because Barbara is passionate about storytelling. That's one of her passion, storytelling. The first time I met Barbara, she spoke about storytelling and how we must use storytelling going forward as Africans, because that's something that we've got as Africans. So we'll come back to that. Thanks, Nula, for that. We move now to Precious Post. Precious, she's a very young, dynamic, and individual with an IT degree in information systems. She's a founder of Lillian Nkabindo Foundation NGO. She's a co-founder as well and a director of a startup digital service company called Kuhlula Digital Solutions. Precious, to you, what have you seen as young girls' issues within South Africa? What are the issues that you've seen within South Africa for young girls?
Hi everyone, my name is Precious and thank you so much for the opportunity. I feel so empowered to be in the presence of such wonderful women. I'm looking forward to learning so much from you guys and I can't wait. So one of the things that I've realized is that people are afraid to take up space, and I'm saying this because we are afraid of using our platforms to speak up about things we feel like they are wrong. And I also feel like there are too many labels. There's a man, there's a woman. And I feel like this is a time for us to work together and collaborate, because the minute you put a label onto something, you are separating it. So it's very impossible to work together. So I feel like if we can all collaborate, there's so much we can achieve in order to empower women and in order to empower young women especially. And I feel like young women are underrepresented in the digital space, in science and engineering. People don't want to pay women. So that's one of the things that we're afraid of. We're afraid to say, you need to pay me. You don't have to underpay me because I'm a woman. So yeah, I feel like there's still a long way to go, but I feel like we're headed in the right direction, and this platform is exactly that.
Thanks, Precious. Thank you so much. I love the fact that you're talking about labeling. I was in class from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday last week, and we were talking about labeling, because that's one thing that causes people to fight amongst one another. You are a Sotho, you are a Xhosa, you are, you are this, you are white, you are black, and we start fighting because of labels. And so we will come back to that. Thanks about that. And lastly, on our panel, we've got Siyasanga Hompashe. And Siyasanga is a life coach, a speaker, and owner of Mnima Coaching Consulting. She has 11 years, spent 11 years in media, corporate and government communications. She's currently a student in master's focusing on leadership and coaching as well. And Siyasanga, she's also passionate about women agenda. And I've got one question for Siyasanga. How, because I know she talks about that a lot. How have you, seen women who are following their traditional, calling, African calling, being received in a corporate South Africa by other women and men?
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. Thank you so much, Kagiso, for this platform, and hello to everybody. Hello to the people that are watching, be it on Facebook or within the Zoom platform. Sure, yeah. So I think as a light worker myself, a practicing Sangoma, I may not have the beads, it doesn't show, but that's who I am, and I embrace it. It's a difficult thing for people like myself who are professionals, particularly young professionals, because of the stigma attached to the calling itself. Once you have a calling as a Sangoma, people start to look at you differently as if you're a witch or something. And yet, the calling itself is basically about you being aligned to the divine. And I believe with all my heart that all of us, we are called. You may be called to be a teacher, you may be called to be a preacher, you may be called to be a doctor or whatever, but each and every person on this earth has a calling. And my calling has to do with me being called by my ancestors. It doesn't make me any different to other executives or other professionals within the corporate space. But it becomes challenging, when you rock up at work, for example, and you are in your regalia, and people start giving you the eye, and it's a sad thing because that is part of our identity. Mm-hmm. And the question that we need to ask ourselves is, why should we as Africans conform to the European standards only? Why should we not embrace who we are? Because if I wear my beads, it symbolizes my heritage, it symbolizes my culture, it symbolizes who I am. And if I don't know who I am, how am I supposed to know where I'm going? Do you get what I'm saying? Yes. So it's challenging from that aspect. And I feel that on a daily basis, I'm having to educate people about my calling, that, look, it doesn't make me different from the person that I was before I realized that I had a calling. And also, it doesn't mean that I'm all of a sudden worshiping demons. I'm not worshiping demons. I'm just in a space where I have been called to align with the divine and to acknowledge my ancestors, the people that have gone before me, my teachers. I have just been called to be the light, to be a compass, to show people the way. Those who are coming either after me or people that are with me. And it happens that within a family, there will only be one person who has a calling. And that's the case with me in my family. by the way, I come from a very religious background. And once you are called for a purpose. It's either your purpose is to heal the past within your family. It's either to heal the nation. It is either to heal yourself as an individual. So there are a lot of those dynamics that we go through within the corporate environment. But I find that where I am, for example, my colleagues, they have embraced me. And, you know, when I, sometimes when I just feel like wearing my beads, you find people, you know, acknowledging the fact that you look so beautiful. There's just this aura around you, you know, which means that I walk with greatness. Whether I'm within my regalia or not. So yeah.
Thanks, Siyasanga. And I love the fact that you're talking about identity as Africans. And you also are talking about why should we conform as Africans? Why should we, you know, want to be westernized? Everything should be westernized. And why are we losing our own identity? And we're not proud of who we are. But we'll come back to that. So thank you so much, guys. So we've all met Barbara, we've met Bess, we've met Lauren, we've met Nula, Precious, and Siyasanga. And I think the big question for today is, how do we empower our young girls and women to start wearing their crowns, to be proud of who they are, to be proud of themselves, you know, because we need to raise a girl child who can start being proud of who they are and become a fully fledged adult who is not afraid to be themselves in this world that is challenging. We're operating in a very uncertain world where, you know, things comes and, you know, what you know what today, tomorrow is different. But we need young people that will be confident enough to hold the tiara that we'll put on top of them. And my question to the panelists is, what are those barriers that needs to be removed for us to be able to let women and young children to wear their crowns with pride? Hence the title of this event is Wearing Your Crown, because we need to ensure that we change the narrative, because the whole thing is about changing the narrative to ensure that every woman and child and girl child wears their crown with pride. And my question to the panel is, how do you, as a woman, make sure that those child that are coming after you are going to be able to wear their crowns with pride? What are the barriers? What are the things that needs to be removed? So I want us to have an open conversation about those things and say, what needs to be done? This is the thing and what needs to be done. So I'll open up to the panelists. Anyone from the panel can start with the conversation.
So I'd like to start, Kagiso. I think one of the great challenges of being mixed cultured and mixed raced in a South African context is the one way of living. There's no one way of living. So we need to open that space up. If this is the way, what's the other way? And that always needs to be a conversation, because there's not one way of doing things. I think I'm absolutely passionate about storytelling. We need to tell the stories. We the mothers, we the aunts, we need to go back to source. We Google too much. We need to go back to source. We need to have a clearer understanding so we can hand over the traditional batons. There's a gap with that handing over of batons. Mm-hmm. And I think because I'm passionate about vision and vision boards, and I do a lot of that, the messaging that I've received, and I listened to the last speaker talking about your spiritual journey. Each one of us are going through spiritual journeys. Some of us are just too scared to listen to the messages. In my vision sessions, the messages that I've been receiving have been that girl children need to own stuff. They cannot come to the table not owning anything. There is no male to rescue anyone. No one rescues anyone. I use this one example, which I'm passionate about. It distresses me when I see males handing out sanitary towels. I go from 0 to 10,000, my blood pressure. I don't know what place they've taken in society. That is an answer that they bring to the girl child. No, it's not their place. In fact, that's a huge industry. And there's not one girl child who owns a share in that industry. So in this decade, that better change. The bleeding industry must be owned by the females. Who owns it? So we have no ownership from generation to generation. That has to change. And if you're sitting in corporate and if you're signing off documents, we need to be awakened. There's no banking system owned by females. That has to change. So I recognize that I turned 49 this year. I have an urgency to deliver. So any platform that I'm on, I need to be the one who is the loudest voice for the next generation. Mm-hmm. So I'm a mom of 2 boys. I don't want my sons under pressure to provide for someone else's daughter. I want them to sit together at the table and say, what is our vision? Let's work towards our vision. I have land. Do you need to get land? Must I step back? Must I facilitate? How do I facilitate so you own your own piece of land? Women don't own land. We don't own the industries, but we wear everything. So I want to conclude just with this, that if you open your wardrobe and 100% comes from other continents, that's a big issue, women. You need to start changing your consumption patterns. You need to know who is making your clothing. Because when you know who makes your clothes, you know how many plates of food and who you're feeding. Mm. When you open your cupboards where your food is, you need to know, where does the food come from? I buy my vegetables from Auntie so-and-so. I own shares in a vegetable garden. We need to shift our minds, and everything we own, we don't own. We have this perpetual shopping need, but it's not for our own selves. I say use the formula. 60% of your groceries must be regional from South Africa, if you're South African. 30% from the continent. If you open my cupboard now, you'll find coffee from Kenya, tea from Malawi. Everything must represent your words. You must be authentic. Mm. We have this window period now during COVID to change. We are either going to live or change, or die or change. Mm-hmm. Choose to change. Because the discomfort of living is going to be hectic. Go back, do your audit your life, audit your privilege. Each one of us have privilege, some type of privilege. I have the privilege of my age right now and my experience. I can stand in the gap for young girls and facilitate stuff for my sons. I have that privilege. Audit your privilege, stand in the gap, change your consumption. Become more local, become more continent-based, and put the mask on yourself. If you can't breathe, you're not praying, you're not exercising, your health is not good. Mm. Work on you. This is our window period. And then just be the best version of an African you can be so that you can serve others. We're here to serve others. We shall never lack. We're on a continent with more than enough. But our minds have been taken over. Let's give ourselves an opportunity to reset. That's my passionate contribution.
Thanks, Barbara. Very passionate contribution. Very, very passionate. And I'm taking a few things there. Story taking, authenticity, auditing of privilege. And I guess it speaks to all of us, an agency to deliver, because the time is now. if we don't do it now, there's no any other time, it's now. We need to be urgent about this kind of things. I wanted to come with a follow-up, but before I come with a follow-up to you, I will maybe wait for the others. Bess, do you want to say something? Your mic is on. So I'll
yes. All right, thanks, Kagiso. Barbara, thanks. This was a great story. I mean, the question from Kagiso was, how do we empower our women, and what barriers do we remove? And for me, the narrative starts in the home. Mm-hmm. It is in the home that we teach our children to become the women that they need to become the future executive, to become the empowered entrepreneur. It is in the home that you change your child's mindset. Because if you leave your children to school teachers and to the streets, they'll be taught that life, there are too many limits and there are too many barriers that will stop them from becoming who they are. So it's about the values that we teach our children and what life is all about. Yes, I agree. I have daughters. I don't want them relying on a husband to do things for them. I want my children to be able to stand for themselves. I've taught them about investments, about empowerment, about working and being able to do things for themselves. I've taught them the importance that when you enter marriage, it's about having a joint vision and values and building a family together and sharing responsibilities. Gone are the days where we say our men must do everything. When on the other hand, in affirmative action, we're actually empowering more females. So there are more females being empowered than males. So where do we expect these poor guys to get money from and provide 100%? It's not going to work. But I'm not saying as well that men shouldn't take their part, because we also have a community, a part in our society where there are men who are out there to abuse our empowered daughters, which is also not acceptable. Everybody must come to the table with their fair share and be able to play that role of empowering each other. And it's how do you bring out the best in each other as couples? Yes. You know, how do you ensure that you support each other's visions and values? So for me, the narrative has to start in the home. What are we teaching our daughters? What are we teaching our sons? Are we teaching our sons to be irresponsible or to be responsible men? Are we teaching our sons to be abusers? Are you yourself sitting in an abusive marriage? Because if you are sitting in an abusive marriage, you are setting an example for your son and a daughter that it's fine to stay in an abusive marriage when it is not acceptable to stay in an abusive marriage. So our children are mimicking, they're watching what we're doing, they're watching what we're saying. So it is important that it starts with us. As a Christian, my Bible says, you know, to love your neighbor, you need to love yourself first. So it comes with you. Love yourself enough to get yourself out of bad situation, to know the difference between right and wrong, to know who you are. What are your values? You know, what defines you as a person? You know, what do you like enjoying in life? Do you love traveling? Do you love reading? How spiritual, you know, I'm also spiritual, and I understand the previous speaker that spirituality is not very welcomed in the workplace. But that's who we are. We are spiritual beings, whether you like it or not. We are all spiritual beings. You may not speak it out loud that you're a Buddhist or you're a Christian or you're a Sangoma, but we are all spiritual beings because it defines your values. It defines how you show up in your character and in everything that you do. So all I'm saying, first know who you are. Teach our children to be self-empowered, to have values, to know who they are, to strengthen, to affirm themselves. I tell my daughters every morning, you wake up and you tell yourself, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And you tell yourself that I can achieve, I'm an achiever. I am the head and not the tail. I'm above, and I have a contract between my daughters and I. My job is to work and to provide for their education so that they can become the best of themselves. Their job is to study and become the best of themselves. That's the contract we have. If they're not studying, what else are they doing?
True.
Huh? What else are they doing? Because they ought to be at school. I'm at work. So those are the things that you contract with your children. And obviously, if you're privileged enough, you give them the best of the education that can also empower them. and teach them the principles of life, teach them the principles of becoming an entrepreneur, of preparing about your future, your visions, and your values. So it's also the access you have to the right education, the access you have to mentors and coaches, the people around you, your family members. If there are some great family members who can mentor and coach your children, make sure that you put them in that environment. And if you are sitting in the wrong environment, get out of that environment. I grew up in Soweto, guys. I know Soweto can be a terrible environment. Sometimes when I reflect and I think, phew, I'm glad God took me out of the environment, because depending on the environment, it influences how you turn up. Because sometimes you live in poverty and you think poverty is fine. And you almost find yourself stuck in that poverty and you say, but how do I get myself out of here? But once you know who you are and you have belief and strength that you can do it, you will study, you'll become the best of who you are. You will get yourself out of that poverty. You do not need some baby mama or baby, what do they call them? These fathers that give our children money. You need that man to give you money as a daughter. You need to believe in yourself, focus on your studies, and have a vision and say to yourself, one day I'll become X, Y, Z, and work towards that. And in the process, appreciate what you have, because sometimes we are not grateful. You want to have a 10-room house in 2 years' time when it takes baby steps to get there. Life was you cannot build Rome over one night, but start small. Appreciate the little things and it also starts with discipline in the house. Are you responsible enough in the house? Are you accountable in the house? When your parents say, wash the dishes, clean the house, those little things are part of your leadership building to become a leader, to become a responsible person. When at home they give you a budget, they say you've only got 50 rands to spend on this thing. You spend 50 rands. And that teaches you financial skills. So I think there's a question.
Bess?
I think there was a question. I heard an interruption.
No, you can continue.
Okay. So all I'm saying, it's the little things that we do in our homes that we start teaching our children. Accountability, responsibility, financial management. You start in your home, you are selling tomatoes, you're selling cold drink, whatever. You're teaching the person to become an entrepreneur. We can all survive. When I grew up, my mother lost her job. My mother didn't sit there, guys. She went and sold fat cakes and cold drinks, and that money gave us transport money to go to school. We were privileged to go to a multiracial school in those days. And at a point, I mean, there were 4 of us. There was a point where we didn't have money for school fees, but because my mother was a praying mother, she understood that even if I don't have money, God will make a way for me. The nuns in that school ended up paying our school fees for the 4 of us. So it's all about your belief system and the things that you do and never giving up, fighting. Life is about fighting. It's about pushing and making sure things happen and not waiting to be handed, hey, I'm helpless, hey, I can't do this. No, guys. Women must stand up. Stand up as a woman. Stand up as a mother. Fight for your children. Fight for your marriage. Fight for everything. Because if you don't stand up and fight, this life will kill you. It's either you're living or you're dead. I leave it there, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you, Bess. I think you share the same sentiments with Barbara. And I love the passion. I mean, when it's coming out. It's either you are alive or you dead. You have 2 options. Either you live or you're alive. But I love the fact that, on a serious note, that you need to know yourself. That is a critical thing that you need, and that's one thing I've seen in my journey working with young adults in under talent, that most people are so lost. They don't know who they are. You ask someone, who are you? It's such a difficult question for people to respond to, and again, you've spoken about the fact that we have to start from home. We cannot expect things to happen when it doesn't start from home. It has to start from home. Thanks, Bess, for that. Sia?
Thanks, Kagiso. There's so much fire in this session. and it's appreciated. But what I want to touch on is, I think one of the things that are a stumbling block for us women to progress forward is the system of patriarchy that has been in place for decades and decades and decades of years. Mm-hmm. And as a result, we have, as women, we have even been pushed in a corner where we say, you know what, it's a man's world. If we can get that out of our minds, that I always said it's nonsensical for anyone to say this world that was created by God belongs to a man or to a woman for that matter. It belongs to all of us. Patriarchy has taught us women that we are not strong enough. We are not clever enough. We're not clever enough, or we're not strong enough to lead, to be leaders. We're not clever enough to be in business. And I think it was Barbara who mentioned that, recently there's been a spike in men, handing out sanitary towels. They are somehow owning that space. Do they even know what menstruation is about? Do they know the hell that we go through as women? We're not saying that we're not grateful for the gesture, but if it's something that is coming from your heart as a man, to donate sanitary towels, ask your sister to do it on your behalf. Ask your mother, because they know this journey. There's an emotional attachment for them to this journey. Do you get what I'm saying? Give us our space. Let us breathe. There's this movement now that came after George Floyd died. One of the pastors there in America said that as Black people, and I want to bring it closer home to the topic of women. One of the reasons why we are unable to flourish is because someone has always had their knee on our neck. And as a result, we can't breathe. We can't own up our spaces. We can't take spaces as women because there's this patriarchy, that is holding us back. We are taught that as women, we are only, we are only good enough to bear children. We are only good enough to cook. We are only good enough to clean the house. The man is the provider. The man is the protector. Hell no, I don't need anyone to protect me. I can protect myself. I am born of greatness. The mother, the woman that gave birth to me, Siyasanga, is such a strong woman, such that she has instilled such greatness within me, such strength within me to be able to protect myself as a woman. But because patriarchy has this a notion that men are stronger because of their masculinity, and we are this feather light kind of a thing, they take advantage of us. And I think to some degree, we have allowed them. We have allowed them. It has taken us so much time to speak up, to shout as loud as we can, to say no is no. You're not going to control me just because I'm your wife. The fact that you paid lobola for me doesn't mean that you have bought me. I'm not your possession. We don't say such things to these men. And because we don't say these things to these men, they think that it's okay. They think that it's okay. And they think that it's true, you know? So I think that's one of the greatest barriers for women development, especially in the deepest rural areas. And I come from a rural province within South Africa, which is the Eastern Cape, where young girls are being married off at a very young age. They don't go to school because a woman is seen as this thing that is just supposed to, you know, have children, you know, cook, take care of the men, and so forth and so forth. And another thing that I need to touch on is, you know, it gets my blood pressure so high when someone says the man of the house is the head. What am I? What am I? Okay, let's say then I'm the neck. How does the head function without the neck? Because you can't do anything. There's two veins here. There's one vein here. There's one vein here on the left-hand side. Both these veins are responsible for oxygen that goes to the brain. Without these veins, the brain can't work. It can't function.
Yeah.
The men must know that they need us. The men need to know that without us, they are close to nothing. They are close. That's why when someone is brain dead, and when they are in hospital, they are called they're in a vegetable state. They can't do certain things for themselves. It's because something went wrong here, you know. So if then I'm the neck, hello, please excuse me, give me my space, give me my importance, you know, because I am important. In order for you as a man to be able to progress in life, there's a saying that behind a successful man, there's a strong woman. That is very true. I've seen it with my men. You know, there are certain things that men are just not gifted to see. And God has given these things to us as women to see. There's something that women have that is so powerful, and we don't use it to our advantage as women. And it's called our sixth sense. Our sixth sense. It is so powerful. But we also, as ourselves, women, you know, make that a barrier. You know, that is inhibiting our growth and our development. One of the things that my uncle said, I've got a very brilliant uncle, Ungamlana Ngwai. Gamlana always says, women don't realize that they have so much power.
Mm-hmm.
Women are powerful.
Yes.
Nothing can happen in my house without me as a man going via my wife. You know why? Because as a woman, you've got the cookie. The cookie belongs to the woman, and the man wants the cookie. So who holds the power? It's the woman.
Interesting.
Women are powerful because who wears the crown within the home? Mm-hmm. It's the woman. Who's the queen? It's the woman. Where the queen goes, the king shall follow. You know that saying. So it is entirely up to us as women to honestly and bravely take up space and own it. And not in a way that is disrespectful to the men. Let's give the men their place. The men need to have their place. We need to stroke their egos. These people are very sensitive. You know this guy is a man. They're very sensitive. But because patriarchy has taught them that they have this overwhelming power, they tend to abuse it. And it goes straight to their head. And they don't even realize that to some degree, patriarchy on its own can be very damaging to a man, because a lot of men have been taught that because you're a man, you don't show your emotions. That's why a lot of men are dying of depression and anxiety. And they even refuse to own up and say that I have depression, I have anxiety. It's something, it's something that only women suffer from, depression. And yet there are so many men who go to any psychiatric hospital right now. You will see that a majority of people that are there, it's mostly men in those psychiatric hospitals. I don't have the stats, but I can bet you my entire salary that the majority is mostly men, because they internalize everything. So patriarchy is the greatest inhibitor for women's development, and to some degree for men as well. Let me end there for now.
You know, you've spoken about patriarchy, and you actually made me think of another issue that I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and she said, women are the most oppressors of other women. And yet we tend to blame patriarchy. We avoid looking at the issue of women as their own barrier to other women. You know, Bess will be the one who will oppress Barbara from growing, from becoming Barbara, PTY LTD, and a man will give Barbara an opportunity sometimes, and another woman would not.
That is true.
I want us to also talk about those kind of issues, because we don't need to sugarcoat and bring women as if women are perfect as well.
That is true, Kasi, and I'm glad you brought that up, because as women, we have what I call a PhD syndrome, pull her down syndrome. Who the hell does she think she is? She's not gonna make it. I'm not gonna give her the chance. We do that, and it happens quite a lot within the corporate space, where you find that there's a position, for example, for an executive, and you apply as a woman, and you will find that it's men who are rooting for you, but the women, they're like, no, who does she think she is? So there is that as well. And for me, I think that comes from, I'm not blaming patriarchy per se, but it comes from the notion, Yoguti, power. If you have power, you have everything. Because of the systems that have been accustomed to.
Yeah, true.
That comes with patriarchy. So once as a woman you come into power, you don't want other women to have the same power. You want to play in the same league as the big guy. So it comes from that. Other than that, I don't think that it's like, being jealous of our sisters is something that is within our DNA. It's not. But the system, society, has made us think that it's okay to do such things to our sisters. It's okay not to support our sisters. And if I can add a layer on top of that, Gahri, we also need to understand as women that if we cannot do things for us, if I can't do certain things for myself, no one's coming for me. Darling, people are busy. Life is hectic. Barbara is busy with her storytelling and whatnot. People are just busy.
Yes, true.
And people have their own purpose in life. Remember when you were born, your purpose came before your birth. So when you were born, when I was born as a woman, I was born with the intention of fulfilling something, which is my purpose. Okay. So if I'm going to sit and expect that Barbara is going to hold my hand and help me out, it ain't going to happen, because Barbara has her own purpose to fulfill. Barbara has her own life to live. I have my life. I need to live my own life as Siyasanga by design, my design. Who designed my design? I need to live my life not according to my friend Unanisa or my friend Unokan. They have their own lives. What I can do as Siyasanga is to support what my sisters bring to the table.
True.
So the pull-her down syndrome, that we have as women, we also have to look at it from that perspective that, you know what, no one is going to come and save me. I have to save myself. I have to do it for me. If they're trying to pull me down, I'm going to pull myself up. What am I doing? When they're pulling me down, what am I doing? To change the narrative. I mean, I come from a very poor background. I grew up without my mom. My mom had to work. So my grandmama and my grandpapa took care of me and my cousins. I grew up without the love of my father. I knew who my father was. Bless his soul, and may his soul rest in peace. But I didn't grow up in a setting where I had a mom and a dad, like my kids, And I remember one Christmas, and I hope my mother is watching. She promised that she'd watch. I remember one Christmas, and my mom didn't have money to buy me Christmas clothes. And she went and bought me secondhand clothes. And I still remember the color of the dress that she bought me. It was yellow here, and then blue and white and yellow from the waist down. I loved the dress, but people made fun of me. But they didn't know. They didn't know what was planted inside me. And when I look back to the people who had laughed at me, to the people who had mocked me, and I look at myself now, where I am now, and where are those people now? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's up to you as a young girl. It's up to you as a woman to level the field, to make sure that, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. It's for me. You must never, to the young girls that are listening now and other women, you must never be in competition with anyone else but yourself. Every day when you wake up in the morning, you must aspire to be the better version of yourself, not your friend who's driving a Porsche. You don't have a Porsche now, but aspire to have a Maserati. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there has to be that, there is that balance between the pull-her down syndrome and patriarchy, if I can put it like that.
Yes. Thanks, Sia. And I think, Barbara, your story of everybody's empowered keep on coming back on everyone's story to say, we all have potential. It goes back to that thing that we all have something within ourselves and we just need to unleash it. So we all have the power. We have to stop blaming other people for our downfalls and our failures, whether male or female, irrespective. We all have the capacity to help ourselves, Yes, Babs.
I would like to add to that. I'm a village child, right? So I come from a rural village and I live in Johannesburg. And I'm walking in Sandton. But as I walk in Sandton, I'm the eldest of 6 children. Everyone in my village calls my name every single day in reference to my parents. So as I'm walking in Sandton, I don't even walk alone.
Yes.
As I'm busy navigating my life, you have no understanding of the context of my world. That I walk with the whole village as I walk. So we're never really truly alone. You choose loneliness.
Amen.
Understand the context of your own story. If I walk into a boardroom, I'm just as terrified as anybody else would.
Exactly.
But when I walk in there, I walk in a confidence of my rural village. It's in the simplicity. It's in the basic. But it gets lost because we're trying to be some other continent. We're not that continent. We have our own richness, our own power. Find our own. I often talk about the joy of carrying water on my head. What did that teach me? When I present, you see me as something different. You have no context of my African story. And that is why African storytelling is so powerful.
True.
It removes areas of bias and of prejudice. We don't have the context of racism as brown and black people, but we're full of bias and prejudice. You just assume by my name who I am. You don't give me a chance to share my story.
True.
And that has to change. We have a window period now with COVID. Again, I'm going to say this. Let's choose to just change. Let's change the narrative. It's a reset period. Let's start over. And when it comes to patriarchy, I want to use this practical example. I live in Johannesburg now, but I have a property in Durban. When I engage with a Durban municipality, they would always ask me for my husband's permission to have access to a light bill. A light bill. Did your husband send you? I'd be so shocked. I am an adult. Why must my husband sign for me to get lights? That is basic. That is basic patriarchy. That's how it unfolds itself. I stayed 2 years old in my marriage. I have to phone him. Could you email me something on my phone to authorize me to get our bill? The systems are created that way. He walks in as an executive to go and buy a car. Because he's an executive, he can walk into his private banker, sign a document, come home and have a car. I'm thinking, we married in COP, Community of Property. How did you get a car without my signature? And I need a light bill with your signature. So let me say this in terms of patriarchy. If we are sitting in the boardrooms, we brown, female, brown, male, if we are signing off for change, it starts with procedures, policy.
True.
We do not abdicate it. We do not become robotic in boardrooms.
True.
It starts with how we look at exclusion. We continuously perpetuating exclusion. Hence, we talk about females pulling down females. No, we're just continuously perpetuating exclusion. This is an opportunity for us to assess how do we bring in inclusion into everything. So those are just the minor day-to-day things that as a woman, you are navigating from province to province or on the phone with someone from a call center and you think, oh my God, there's patriarchy. So it's not a person per se, it's not man and woman. It's a system. And the system is inbred from our schooling. I say this a lot now. I'm almost 49, and I hear almost every other day how beautiful I am, which shocks me because I grew up as being a clever girl. Everybody needed to tell me I'm clever. So the first boy who said I'm beautiful, I married. So even our language that we're using at home has... The system is creating craziness. Can we just use this period, baguette, to reset?
Not true.
And as Mama Bess said, we start at home. Can we be mindful of our language?
Yeah.
Can we endorse our children differently? Let us not, there's no before today, that's gone. From now into the future, let's be present about the things now and let's just start reimagining.
So you're speaking that language about starting from home. It has to start from home. The language must start from home as well.
Oh, absolutely. So you know, hunger does not, a stomach does not know gender.
Yes.
That's the rule in my house.
Yes.
I raised 2 boys. You could come to me up to the age of 13 to tell me you are hungry. It's my nurturing. But from 13, we do skills audits in my house. My background is a bank manager, so my mind operates that way. Can we do a skill audit? Every January, we do skill audits. There is no mother giving birth to a child who's going to come and look after you.
Yeah.
Are you equipped to prepare meals? Are you equipped to do your washing? Are you equipped to run your budgets? Do you need a mentor? Do you need a coach? And I must give feedback, because feedback is what allows us to grow. I observe that you are not strong in this area. If I don't give you feedback as a mother, that weakness is going to someone's child. And I will be parenting throughout my life. She's going to come back to me. Look at the gaps, speak into them, build them, put the people around our children. At times, isolate the children. How do you isolate them? Travel. When you travel as a family. Do local travel. Go to isolate them from the noise and the... Yeah. So yeah, patriarchy is just not a person. It's not a man. It's a system.
Thanks, Babs. Precious, you wanted to say something long time ago, but we're still engaged in this topic. Sorry.
Yes, so I just wanted to add on to some of the barriers. So I feel like some of the barriers is the ability to speak up, because lately when you speak up as a young woman, they call you a feminist, and so just because you speak up for what is right, it's now suddenly wrong. So I feel like we need to, as what Siyasanga said, it needs to, Bess said it needs to start at home. I feel like our mothers need to teach us to be able to stand up for ourselves, so that even when you go out to the world, you are able to say, no, I don't want this and I don't agree. I feel like that is one of the reasons why we're being taken advantage of in a lot of ways, is because we don't know how to say no. You don't want to say, anytime I don't like this thing, please don't do this, because you are afraid, okay, I might lose my job, I might lose my friends, I might lose status in the public, which is I feel like it's a bad thing, because it's stopping us from reaching our full potential. So I really think that our mothers can do so much, but it also needs to come to you and say that I've had enough, I know my worth, and this is what I need to do to be able to get where I want to be. And also to girls, I feel like we've been taught that competition is somehow okay. I feel like we need to see people and we need to learn from people, understand that it's not a competition. If somebody can do it, it's proof. It's really proof that you can also do it yourself. So I feel like we need to create a space that allows us to be able to learn from each other. If you see someone that you really look up to, don't see somebody you need to be better than. Do it for yourself. You can only be the better version of yourself and not of someone else. Yeah, I just feel like competition is, it's really not. It's not okay. There's so much we can learn from each other.
Thanks, Precious. Nula and Lauren, what are your thoughts on how do we empower young girls to actually stand up for themselves and start wearing their crowns? Yes, Lauren?
Okay. The conversation have been going around, and I've been thinking about a lot of things. And firstly, I want to say those are all salient points, but whilst you guys were explaining, especially when you talk about upbringing, I was thinking about kids who don't have parents, girls who don't have parents, girls who are in orphanage homes, girls who are in rural areas that don't have access to a mother that will be able to stand out for her and leave that good example for her. And then it comes back to us. You living your life as a normal girl and you think that I'm living my career, but you are living for another person. People look at you every day and you don't know that you are sometimes a mentor to someone you don't know. The way you speak outside, things you say to people, your interactions, the way you dress, places you go, you become a mentor to people. During those days, whilst I was growing up, I knew I had a lot of uncles and aunties that was not related to me because they could correct me whenever they see me, whenever they see me doing something wrong. But nowadays, everybody just mind their business. I know it's good for you to mind your business, but when you're seeing something that is wrong, you know today or tomorrow that girl child may not be your child, but that child may marry your son, that child may become your daughter-in-law, that child may even become someone that will work with you and you will need to take a whole time to train them over. We have to start correcting these things at an early stage before growing up to be a bigger problem. Girls who are in rural areas, I think one way girls can be empowered is getting women into political office. I know it's kind of difficult, but if someone like every one of us here today are sitting in political seats where they understand what we're going through, policies that can be made, they can bring it to the table for it to be passed in House of Legislatures. We are bringing policies that will help girls, children who don't have access to parts that are in rural areas that we can use usable parts. Girls who don't have access that's being sexually abused in schools, but there are no laws that are being covered them, because their schools are being run by government officials, so these girls are just being put aside. Girls that are being raped because they don't have anyone to speak out for them. If we have women who are in political office, they will know how to bring out policies to help these young girls of tomorrow. Their futures are being damaged. They don't have anyone to turn to because they don't have a mother or a bigger sister like probably me. I have a younger sister, and one thing I always say is I live my life for them. Whatever mistake I make now will definitely pour over to them. They're watching me, they're looking at me, they're telling their friends about me. They are looking at other people as well. And one thing that is damaging women empowerment is we need to say the truth. Tell me when it's difficult. You don't need to pump out your story for me to feel glad about you. Tell me where you failed. Probably your scenario may fit in mine and I'll be able to overcome it. Tell me when you know that I can't make it. Don't tell me I can make it when you know that I'm not going to be there. I'm a young person who loves technology. You know, that's my feeling. I come up and tell you I want to become a writer. I don't have skills in writing. And then you tell me, yes, you can do it. You know you can do it. Put your mind to it. Be bold enough to young people. This is not going to happen. This is not what you're interested in. This is what you're interested in. If you go into this, you're going to fail. Be real with us. Tell us we are going to make it when you know you see the green lights. When the red lights are there, be bold enough and tell us. Women in leadership have to come up to us with their stories, but being honest with their stories, because we are learning from you. We're walking through your footsteps, and we want to be who or more than who you are. So one thing I usually tell myself, I don't want to have a seat at the table. I want to be very much prepared. I want to be very much prepared at the table. So once I have a seat at the table, I don't sit back and be quiet. I let my voice be heard. I put my point ahead of me. I don't have to sit down, because if you are empowered before having a seat at the table, you own your space that you are in. You don't need a man to tell you, oh, you have to speak or you don't have to speak. For one fact, one thing Precious said I agree with, I'm not in competition with a man. Majority of my life, all of who I've become, it was done by a man. My father stood by me. He made me who I am today. So I appreciate the fact that men are doing some things for us. They are there pushing, but we still need our space, because the amount of women that will be in corporate space, the amount of women that will be in politics, the amount of women that will be in the bank sectors, we are molding our younger generation to see women as a brighter future. We are molding our younger generation to see women in diverse field. Yeah, in Liberia, we have a saying that majority of the time when you see women graduating from universities, it's either business or accounting. You don't see people going to IT. You don't see people going to engineering, because people have made that notion that it is difficult. Yes, accepted it is difficult, but we that are in those fields need to show those ladies out there that it's difficult. We did it, and you can do it. You need these skills to get up here. If you don't have these skills, you have to practice this way. We need to have a time that women can just go out and talk about themselves. People are saying so many negative things about women, and we young people need to talk about the positive things. We have environment that men pull women down and women pull women down, but we don't talk about it, men pulling us down. We mostly talk about females putting us down. We have errors that we make. We need to talk about more of our sources than the negative side of us. We have a lot of obstacles that's in front of us, but yet there are people, great people, like most of our panelists here, all of us, we have overcome those obstacles. How did you do it? Can you talk about it? Can you write a book? Can you do a weekly video to tell girls how you're doing it? Are there people in your church, in your community that you can put together, that you can be able to talk to? What impact are we doing? So whilst you were talking about our upbringing, I appreciate that a whole lot, and I know the words our parents said to you. One thing my father always said to me was, I love you, so that another man will not tell you I love you and look so precious to you. He always said that to me. And I live with that a man loves me, he appreciates me for who I am, he accepts me for who I am. So if your family believes in you and builds you up, it's very difficult for people to break you down, because they need to go and break those people down before they can come and break you down. So I think it's time for our parents to create that connection with their kids. Let's leave working environment. We have nannies that need to take care of us. Sometimes come from work, ask your kids, what's going on with you? Can you talk to me? Girls will have problems. They'll be on their menstrual cycles and they talk to their nannies. Talk to your mom. Talk about sex in the home. Tell girls, children, what you're going to experience about it. My mom told me at an early age about sex, what's going to happen to me when I make this decision, what's going to happen to me if I don't make this decision. Because of that, I grew with it. So we need to talk more about ourselves. There are a lot of negative things. Yes, we accept it, but let's talk the positive things. Let's make women look beautiful. We are beautiful. And being a woman is unique. Imagine a man don't have to take care of a child, but you have to take care of a child, take care of your life, take care of your work. We balance it so perfectly. Even if not perfectly, we do our best. So tell us how you were doing it. Let's live our stories and make a beautiful journey out of it. So I think that's something I'll get to say.
Oh, very powerful and passionate as well, Lauren. And I think, you know, what is coming out is the thread is the same from all of you. It's about, it has to start from home. That's where it has to start. And it's about being honest and having crucial conversations and about the girl child. You know, she reminded me of, if you remember, President Thabo Mbeki started that African Renaissance program when he was still the president. And that was a great program to bring back Ubuntu, to say, if I see a child doing something wrong in the street, I must be able to reprimand the child, whether I know the child or not, because we've lost it. We've lost Ubuntu, and that's Africanism. We've lost the whole Africanism, and I'm passionate about issues like that. And you know, I'm getting myself excited here. Nula, what do you have to say now? So let's give Nula an opportunity.
Wow, I mean, I would say I'm out of words, but I would muster something up. I mean, every single lady on this panel has touched on the points that I had in my head and all that. But so just to go over it again, I think it starts with self-acceptance for me. So I don't know if it's something that can be taught, but it can be shown. I'll give a simple example with your Miss South Africa, Zosie. I mean, she showed that you can be yourself from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet. You can be yourself, natural, beautiful, and still win something. I mean, you don't have to live up to what society expects of you. Like, society tells us, oh, you have to look this way, you have to act this way. I mean, they even try to control our bodies, what we do with our bodies and all that. As a woman, we're in this box. But it comes back to home. Parents can show their kids, oh, I believe in you, like what Lauren said. She had this backbone that pushes her, oh yes, you can do this, you can do this. And that's a constant reminder to her. So once she falls back, it's more like, oh no, I have these people who are by me, who are behind me, who are constantly pushing me. So it all boils down to self-acceptance. And then the next thing would be women taking up spaces, like political spaces, CEO boardrooms, engineering. We have to show them. So I think for me, it's something that resonates with me as a person, because I have been living my life in a way that I want to show young girls that this is possible. Like, you can do this. If I can do it, you can do it. Even if not the same way, but whatever dreams you have, if you just have that that person that you see who have done it before, it proves that, oh yes, if she can do it, I can do it as well. So it's more like taking up those spaces to show young women that, oh, you too can do this. And then use that space. We're talking about women who try to put others down. I think it's the system, the way society makes it. There's only one space up here for a woman. And once you get in that space, you don't want any other woman in that space, because you feel that she becomes competition. But as it is now, if you're in that space, it's up to you to then pull up other women to bring them into that space. And we might not know it, but bringing more women in that space, it makes your voice louder. It amplifies your voice. It amplifies the issues that you as a woman face, but you might not have the courage to say because you're just one person. And then when it comes to issues about young women who possibly might not have people to look up to guide them and all that, that's when it all comes back to we as young women. And that's something I'm very grateful for here in Liberia. There's so many young women now doing so much great things, from starting a natural hair line to start to donations, to taking up Lives Initiative, educating young girls on their own. They're not waiting for government to do it. They're not waiting for this other NGO to do it. We're doing it ourselves, because what we understand that this needs to be done. If we don't do it, we can't, who else will understand? Especially with the issue of sanitary towels. Men would not fully understand or comprehend what it means. But if I see a young woman doing it, I know that she has a passion. It's about the story behind it. Like, why would she want to do this? Because she knows how it feels. She knows how it affects one to not have those basic necessities. So basically, those are the things that we need to do to empower women. And one crucial thing is conversations like these, open conversations about women issues. Is something that we need to do. We need to keep doing. We need to keep talking about it. The louder we talk about it, the more we talk about it, the more people are aware that, oh, this is a problem and we need to do more. We need to keep doing more. We're not there yet, and we'll not be there anytime soon, but we can still keep pushing to be there. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Thanks, Nula. I guess to sum it up, it's also about showing up as a young girl. How do you show up? Make sure that you show up every day. And you said it well, but say you have to accept yourself and self-believe, because if you don't believe in yourself, how do you show up? How do you make sure that you always take your space? You can't take your space if you don't believe in yourself and you don't accept the person that you are. And it's because sometimes the society has told us to say, you need to look like this, to speak like this, for people to accept you. And it becomes difficult for people to accept themselves. Look at Barbara's hair. Someone will say, go and tie your hair. You look untidy. Because the society has labeled what looks tidy, what doesn't look tidy. Why are you wearing a wig? Why do you have dreads? Why do you have those? Who dictates that? Why do we have labels? Why can't a woman become a person and be yourself and live your truth? So I wanted to come back to Barbara's thing to say, so to Barbara and Bess, to go back to the initial speakers, to say, how do we go back to raise a girl child in an environment where we don't have parents? I think Lawrence spoke about that. And, I think it really touched me because, we take it for granted that, we have the society where everyone has a home. And we're talking about storytelling. We're talking about it all starts from home. Beautiful. And yet, if we look at the stats, I just looked at the stats, there's millions of children in Africa that are starving, that are living in poverty, that are living in the streets. And even there are households that are led by children in Africa because of HIV, because of women that are dying because of dying giving birth, labor issues, because of our health things are not proper. So how do we deal with those kind of issues as well, if we are to be realistic about ourselves?
So, Kagiso, I think this is where the churches, the communities play an important role in developing those children who are parentless. But unfortunately, we also live in a society where people are so self-centered that they don't want to give of their time, of their money, or of their knowledge, or whatever it is. But it is important that we use the churches, the NGOs, whoever is available to mentor and to coach those children. And it also goes back to the concept of Ubuntu. When I grew up, the neighbor next door could call me to order. But nowadays, you try and call somebody else's child to order. The mother himself says, like, leave my child alone.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately. I mean, the other day I was innocently at the mall. This girl's whole bra was out. And I was trying to say, young girl, fix your dress, your bra is sticking out. And the mother got very upset with me. You know, we live in a funny world where people feel that we cannot call on each other and correct each other. Unfortunately, that's what it's this freedom, this democracy. Freedom and democracy is good, but I cannot watch you do the wrong thing and keep quiet. To me, there's something fundamentally wrong with our values as a society if we've reached a state where I must actually let you do something wrong and keep quiet. Hence why we have so much corruption in our country that we cannot speak up against corruption because we're too afraid and people are walking in fear. So we need to change that narrative. And I also wanted to add, you know, some of the things that acts as a barrier to women is low self-esteem. Ladies, get rid of low self-esteem. You know, I always say our fingerprints are not the same. It means something, guys. It means that we're all unique and different.
Amen.
Don't try and be Bess. Don't try and be Barbara. Find out who God created you to be. Find out your purpose, your journey. And also then ask for the people who will mentor you and coach you according to your journey. Stop trying to be somebody you are not, because you will not succeed. Let me tell you, it will backfire. There are natural spiritual laws which make things backfire, and there are natural laws which make things work. So until you find out who you are and the purpose and the plan that God has for you and your life, you will never be happy in life because you're trying to be somebody you're not. Don't be somebody else. Just be yourself, authentic self. Be yourself. If God created you to be that ness, be that ness. If God created you to be that executive, be that executive. And be happy, sisters, for your sisters. Support them. Encourage them. Lift them up. You know, don't be jealous about your sister. Take away low self-esteem. Take away jealousy. Take away unforgiveness. Unforgiveness will hinder your progress in life.
Yes.
If you don't learn to forgive and live with other people and appreciate people for who they are, you will be stuck in life. You'll wonder, hey, me, I've got bad luck. Hey, there's no bad luck. It's you. It is within. Find the power within. It's who you are. Understand the God within. You are a God, a small God. Find out who you are. And speak to yourself and deal with yourself. Wherever you know your strengths and your weaknesses. Well, those things that make you cry at night, what are you going to do about changing that attitude? That spirit of jealousy, that spirit of wanting Rome to be built over one night. Stop it. We're not all going to be the Kim Kardashians. We're not. God never meant all of us to be Kardashian. If he wanted you to be a Kardashian, he would have made you to be one. You know? So accept where you are. Be happy with what you have. Have a grateful heart. Today you have a roof. It may be small. You have ambitions for a bigger roof. It's fine. It's good to have dreams and ambitions. But do it at your pace. and according to abilities and capabilities, and also have the ability to learn. Be open-minded, be open to learning, whether it's through mentoring, coaching, going to school, upgrading your studies, upgrading your education. Always be open to learn. Read magazines, read business magazines, read newspapers, listen to the news. We live in an information age where there's lots of information, guys. And if you're not sure you want to start a business, you don't know how, ask the relevant people. It's all as simple as that. And you know, they say women, they talk too much, they make men fearful. There's nothing wrong with talking too much. It's the approach of how do you talk to people. Because men are sensitive as much as women are sensitive. You know, so when you come across too aggressively, you want to make your point, you're an empowered woman, it's not good, guys. Have humility, do things with humility, with the respect. And people will listen to you. Learn influencing skills. It's about how do I influence people in my sphere? How do I become accepted in my sphere? Let me tell you, arrogance and shouting is not going to get you anywhere. Be humble. Be willing to ask questions. Be willing, understand other people's stories. We all have stories. I grew up differently from you, and my story has defined who I've become. And you might not understand. I always laugh because, like I said, I went to a multiracial school, and because I'm Black, my mother's Xhosa, some people have a tendency of writing me a note in Xhosa, and they think that I can understand what it means. That I wish they knew that I can't even read a word of Xhosa, not even alone my father's language of Tsonga, you know? So I've become who I am because of the experiences, the way I grew up, the people I met along the journey. My godmother was some white woman who was a playwright, Bess Skosana. I'm named after her. She's influenced who I've become, guys. You know, so don't package me. People like to package us into a box. Oh, she grew up in Soweto, this is how she should be. No. Understand people, get to know people. The secret, the best weapon you can have in life is learning to listen to people. Even the Bible says, be quick to listen and slow to answer. Listen to people's stories. Ask the 7 W's. What, why, when. You know, ask more questions and you become a more powerful individual. And take it easy. A change doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience. Yes, influence policy in the workplace. Let it be suitable for women. That's your job. It's your role. But you need to do it slowly overnight. You don't build Rome overnight. And diversity is important. It's all about diversity and inclusion. In the workplace, we need men and women. We need Black and white. We need disabled. We need everybody. Because even the products that we cater to, they cater to the wider, diverse and inclusive population. So that's why people should understand the importance of diversity and inclusion. Yes, I support the women agenda, but I also support women and men being there because they also bring in the balance. Women can be too emotional. We need a bit of balance. You know, you need disabled people. How are you going to cater products to the disabled environment if you don't know how they feel and the challenges they go through? You know, so those are all the things. It's about listening to each other, being sensitive to each other, and also being able to be a trusted advisor in the workplace. Can your boss trust you to do what is right, to deliver on what you're expected to deliver? It's not about, you're not going to use your figure and your beautiful face to get to the top. You're going to work for it, girl, like any other person. You're going to earn your stripes. You're going to work. You're going to do research. If you're not sure, you phone Kagiso, you phone Bess, you phone Barbara, you phone Precious, and you ask them, guys, how do I do this? Is there a template for this? You know, how do I do it? It's about taking away fear. But if you let fear control you and stand in your way of doing things, you'll never get anything done. Instead, you will sit there in the corner, always blaming the system, blaming everybody, blaming take away fear, take away low self-esteem, take away unforgiveness, and you will enjoy your life keep positive, affirm yourself, and have a positive mindset. Those are the things which will make you succeed, and be your authentic self. Me, I would have loved to have been Oprah Winfrey, but I'm not Oprah. I'm Bess. And I've learned to appreciate who Bess is, and Bess does what she enjoys doing. She lives her own life regardless of what people say. I get criticized a lot of times, even from my own family. Don't worry. It's like, oh, you've been married 3 times, and I say, so what? God will make me marry again. Because if God has planned it for my life, it's gonna happen, sister, whether you like it or not. So I have no issues. People can talk, people can say, I know who I am. And I know the plans that God has for me. And those plans are of good and not of evil, a future and an expected end. And that's how I live my life, positively believing and affirming myself and knowing that God has got the best plans for my life. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks, Bess. I can see you even summarized your everything. So that's how passionate Bess is with the topic. So maybe before we do that, maybe I'll ask, do you want to, maybe we should close up with summaries as well. Do you, maybe anyone can go next. Are you good to go back?
I'm ready. Yes, I am. I know that you spoke about orphans and the less privileged of us. Again, I say, we talk about what is my privilege and how can I stand in the gap for others.
Yes.
I had to speak at a conference in Malawi, and Malawi has a huge orphan issue. And the conference was an HR conference. And I asked the HR practitioners, it was the whole country, have you done the stats of orphans for the country? With your CSI, have you gone in and put in the ECD centers? Have you gone to train? Because you're one organization.
Yes.
Are you recruiting from those areas that need the most help? Are you part of the medical systems that are there? We are all spiritual beings, but many of us are not vibrating at our highest level.
Amen.
Our highest level of truth. We are engaging systematically, as has been designed by systems. Systems are designed for us to be systematic, how to fill out the form, how to tick, how to apply for a job. In that same space was my question. If you're in HR, how is it then that we still use curriculum vitae, which is a French word to write my work story? How can you have the whole Africa using that same word? Surely we are the ones who change the narrative. We bring in the new language. So again, it's about us being so aware. Everything starts with the story. Everything. Employment starts with the story. We need to understand the economics of stories. We need to understand the stillness of story, because the stillness of story brings in solution. When we don't listen, we can't solve. It means that we're trying to tick some form. We need to understand that you can't change everybody, but you decide to change for you. I also want to encourage the young girls. Young ladies, I'm so honored to sit on a platform with you, because it's a privilege for me. I live in a household with males. I hardly get to interact with young females, especially in the COVID world. But I want to say that we need to have fun as African people. We're just not having fun. I don't know who must come and give us permission. And I discovered that doing a road trip from Cape to Cairo. I've driven across the continent. In most places, I'm the one who's been to quite a few of the countries on the continent. I had the honor to be a volunteer. Young people, find opportunities to volunteer. If you love travel, find a volunteering opportunity in South Africa from Liberia. Come and do 3 months. Come and live with the people. Come and live with us and discover us. We are unique. Sometimes we don't even think we're in Africa. We are always saying we're going to Africa.
Yes.
So come to us and bring it to us. Find volunteer opportunities. Serve. There's a magic in serving. If you don't know something, go and ask someone, can I serve you? Even if you're photocopying paper and you're the best photocopier, you have no idea where that serving can position you. I have just finished serving the African Authors Awards last week, Friday. We had the first drive-through awards because of COVID. Our authors who submitted, we had over 250 submissions during COVID. That's how many books we had to read. 100 authors were recognized across the world, African authors. I serve in that capacity because I value story. I value our identity. Driving from Cape to Cairo, I took a black doll with me, a Kiki. Every country I got to, people wanted to touch a doll that looked like them. We need to start creating things with our hands. We need to start growing our own food. And once we have figured out our own magic, then we multiply it, as Nula said. So in wrapping up, something I've observed as I'm an avid traveler, I love traveling. It's the awe and wonder of growing up rural. When you're hanging the washing as a teenager in a rural village and you look at all those hills, you spend your time at the line wondering what could be at the other end of that hill and the other hill. It's the reason why I travel. I have the awe of what can be on the other side of the hill. And I've come to spaces and there are none of us there. Sometimes I'm the only brown person. We don't budget to explore. We rather use our money for Louis Vuitton and let's just start afresh. Let's explore, let's have fun, let's laugh. Let's be a lot of brown people in a place. Let's just do this next post-COVID thing differently. We can see that we actually are mobile people. We love mobility. So can you put it and diarize it the first thing on your list? My friends have asked, so what is going to happen if you survive COVID? I said, oh, I'm going to the 7 M's of Africa. What are the 7 M's of Africa? Malawi, Mozambique, and there's so many ways to travel. You can volunteer. You can go there and work at a school. You just cut your cloth to your size. Just keep cutting your cloth. I know if I travel for work. I will take my shake and have meals out of shakes with me and use part of my budget to explore. Try to not create your own barriers. Redirect your clothing budgets. We haven't worn clothes in COVID.
Yes.
No shopping for 2 years. Just say, I'm not shopping for 2 years. If I need a mask, I'm cutting a sleeve. I'm going to make the mask from the sleeve. I'm going to make the mask from the hem. Change and explore, discover our continent, discover our country. Have a voice that speaks from your umbilical cord about an issue. We don't have all the money. We don't have all the time. But at least let's control and possess our own brain. Make our own decision and choose a path less traveled. Thank you, Kagiso.
Thanks, Babs. Nula, your last words? Oh, Sia, are you ready? Or Sia is ready?
Thanks, Kagiso. I want to summarize by saying that we all need to define what our crown is. What is your crown? The event, today's event, is about wearing your crown. So once you define what is your individual crown is, then you are able to map the way forward for your life. And once you get to have an understanding of what that crown means and what that crown is, for me, for example, when I define what a crown is, it's something of great value. something that has weight, you know. It's something that is usually decorated with jewels and precious stones. It's a piece of a strong metal. But when I bring it to myself, what is mine? What is my crown? My crown is this black young African woman. Is one that is built. It's built from the depth of my spine, you know. The depth of the spine of my inner strength as a Black African child. And what my crown says when it speaks to you, it says you are beautiful, you are capable, you are relevant. What are the jewels that are covering my crown? We should not be scared to embrace the pain that we go through as women or as people. Whether we are women, we are men, don't be scared to embrace your pain, because that is part of the jewels that are going to decorate your crown. Don't be afraid to embrace your background, who you are, where you come from. Don't be afraid to embrace your roots. You know, there are people, sad as it is, there are people that are even, you know, scared to acknowledge their parents, to say that that is my mother or that is my father. There are people who are even scared to go home. I'm in Joburg now. There are people who are scared to go back home because, you know, the house is in shambles. They are even afraid for their friends to know where they come from. Don't be afraid to embrace who you are, because all of these things are the jewels that are decorating your crown. So as you wear your crown, you are wearing who you are. You are wearing who your parents are. You are wearing who your forefathers were. And Africans, I believe in God. I love God. I love God with all my heart. But I think somewhere, somehow, as Africans, we have allowed Western standards or Westernization, and we have adopted cultures that are definitely not ours. And we left our culture and our heritage. That is why we have no direction. That is why we are ashamed of wearing our crown, be it a woman or a man. Because men as well, they do have their own crowns. They are kings, you know. Let's not turn our backs from the boy child. The boy child needs a lot of nurturing as much as the girl child. So as we are defining our crowns, our individual crowns, let us be mindful of where we're coming from, where we are now, and where we are going. That will help us in how we show up as human beings. I know that this event is about women empowerment, but I feel that, you know, spirit, as a spiritual person, spiritual being, spirit is just pushing this thing in me that we need to cultivate the land that is Africa. Africa needs to arise. We need to arise to the occasion, and the occasion, you know, requires us to say, we are here. World acknowledge us. Do you get what I'm saying? So the person that you are, there's a quote that inspires me about a crown. It's by Maya Angelou. It says, your crown has been bought and paid for. Put it on your head. Wear it. And I want to add on that quote and say, wear it with pride. Wear it with confidence. Mm-hmm. Wear it with words that say, as an African child, I can do it. I can have it. If I can dream it, I can have it. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, you don't have because you don't ask. There's another scripture in the Bible that says, and I'm paraphrasing it, you must put the vision down so that whoever comes across it, if you are unable to see the vision through, if someone comes across it, it's there, it's written down. Someone will take the baton from yourself and they move forward with the vision. So let's go back to source. Let's go back to source. And this is where we'll be able to find our balance. This is where we'll be able to find our center. Because for as long as we are just, living day, we are not, we are in existence, we are just existing, we are just here, J. We need to be able, when we get to heaven or when we get to the other side, whatever that side is, we need to give an honest and brave account to source that says, this is what I have done with my life. And this is the impact that I've had with my life. Even if it means that you've changed one person, but you need to be able to give some sort of an account about the life that you have been borrowed. It's not your life. It's borrowed to you. And lastly, I just want to say that, to the queens that have decided to embrace us with their presence, that sis, you are the queen. Get it into your head. You are the queen. Never ever allow anyone else to tell you otherwise. And don't allow negativity into space. Because when you are surrounded by negative energy, you attract negative things. Like attracts like.
Amen.
So be in a space where you are vibrating at a higher frequency so that you are able to attract positive things. This thing that is called life is about energy. It's about energy. If your energy is down, you are going to sit and wallow in your dark hole and say that life is not fair, people don't care about me, people don't love me. Hello, you need to wake up, smell the coffee. No one is coming to rescue you. You have to rescue yourself. And never, ever, young women, young Black African women, never, ever allow anyone to strip you off of your power. I know that there is gender-based violence. We are being raped. We are being physically abused. We are being emotionally abused. Doesn't matter by who or by what gender, but don't allow anyone to take your power away from you. If your power has been taken today, go back home, take a journal, write affirmation, affirm positive things, take your power back, because this is your life. It's your life.
Yes.
The person that has scarred you, they are continuing with their journey. They are living their life. When you are just, feeling sorry for yourself, you are in this pity party. The pity party has to end. It has to come to an end. Rise to the occasion. And most importantly, I want to say that never allow anyone to dethrone you, because you are the most beautiful queen ever. You can go anywhere in the world. Africans are the most beautiful people ever. Our culture is embodied by the spirit of Ubuntu. It is, if you sit and analyze where these other cultures have, or what these other cultures have taken away from Africa, and they have made whatever it is that they took from us to suit their own cultures. Everything comes from here. Gold, silver. We've got silver and gold. We are rich. We are blessed. When you wake up in the morning and someone is asking you, how are you doing today? Say, I am blessed. God is good, if you believe in God. If you believe in your ancestors, I walk with greatness. My ancestors are my entourage. Say it with your words. Affirm positive things. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. No one is coming to rescue you. Thank you so much, Kagiso, and thank you for the to the panelists for this event. It was very insightful. I have learned so much from everybody, and I've taken away a lot from each and every speaker. I want to end by saying that do you do whatever it is that you are doing, whoever you are, wherever you are, just do you. Because I'm already taken. Barbara is taken. Kagiso is taken. Precious is taken. Do you. Amen.
Thanks, Siyasanga. Thank you so much. Nula, your last words?
Thank you all. I mean, I've learned so much from all of you, and I'm still willing to learn just in case we can take this conversation further anytime, any day. Okay. My final words would be, especially to young women, to use our voices, especially for us that, know your privilege. If you're up there, if you've achieved certain things, use your voice. And aside from that, aside from just speaking out, we need to do more. Like support, we always say, oh, young women are not doing anything, or this woman is not doing all that. But a young woman starts a business, you won't buy from her, you prefer going online and ordering your things. No, we need to start supporting each other, like buy locally. If it's food, if it's your hair products, if it's your clothes, the time, the passion put into these things. That's something that we need to strongly consider as young women, to support each other. I like to call myself a woman's woman because I like to empower my friends. You would see me encouraging somebody to start a dance or dance studio or dance group or so, because that's something that I see they're passionate about. So that's something that we young women need to do more of, encourage each other, build each other, lift each other up. Because if they see that happening, it pushes them, oh, she has her own dreams, but why is she so bent on helping me achieve this? So yeah, that's my fun. Those are my final words. Let's build each other up and keep pushing each other.
Thank you. Lauren?
Okay, firstly, let me say thank you, KG, for giving me this opportunity. And like Nuna said, I learned a lot, even though we're talking to young women, but I'm a young woman, so I had my notepad in my pen taking some points down as well. So there is no limit of education, so I learned a lot from every one of you. I want to say thank you for your wise words. So I'm always willing to learn, so I'm ready to take the conversation to another level as well. So something I believe in personally is, people say be the change you want to see, but I say change what you see and be what you dream, because you know your dreams, you know what you want to become a reality. I want to share something right now with young women out there, and something I call KAGEB. This is something I live by. It's called know you, appreciate yourself, get it done. And the E is expect to fail, and the B is but do not give up. Get up again and do what you were doing first. When you're knowing yourself, it goes with your values, the values in what you grew up with, what your parents taught you, what was said in church, what you live by, who you want to become. Appreciate yourself. It's not about your size, it's not about your color, it's not about anything. It's about who you want to become. And the way you appreciate yourself is how people take you and value you. The way you take yourself and put yourself in that situation to be a great mentor, to be someone that everyone can look up to. Young women are very, very much amazing. I know around the continent, our continent, a lot of young women doing an amazing job. I would rather want to wear clothes being sold by a young person. I would rather want a young person to fix I rather want a young person to give my food. And this is how we support each other. We don't have all the money to give. The fact that I can post you on my social media because I know I have a lot of followers that will go to your shop and go and fix their hair, I supported you. The fact that I can be able to share, I know that you're losing interest in your business, that you have so much passion about, I have supported you. It's not about giving physical cash to support someone. The little things that you do is the support we're talking about. The time I take to talk to you when I know that there is something in you I see sparkling in you that you don't want to bring out. That's the kind of support we want. I want a female that will lift me up and tell me, yes, Lauren, you can do it. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. Let's go together. There are rooms for every one of us. The space is big. Like Nula said, imagine if you want to support a female, just imagine this. If I'm alone talking in this room, my voice is lower. But if we are 5 or 10 or 20 or 50 in this room and speaking one tone, there's a whole lot of sound that is being sent out there. There are a whole lot of changes that we will want to see, and we are going back. So let me say thank you. Thank you, everyone. Young women, keep your head up. Don't say no. Remember, NO means next opportunity. If someone say no to you, try again. If you fall down, get up. If you feel you can't do it again. There is nothing wrong in trying. It's your effort. One day you're going to see where it's going to come from. And something that Barbara said I love, volunteer your time. We are working, we're making money at certain level, but there is nothing wrong in volunteering your time. Volunteer your time and serve your country with love. Serve your nation with so much passion. There is no, I can tell anyone for a fact, I love Africa and I love Liberia to my heart. I would rather want to stay here and see my country going to a very, very much better place than to leave and go outside. I want to stay here and see what the skills I've acquired in me, to use it and put young people on the table to be able to change. Let us be willing to serve. It's not about the money. It's not about anything. Serve because you love your country and you want to see a change. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Lauren. Thank you so much. Precious?
Yeah, what it did, it was so inspiring hearing everyone's different perspective. So some of my final words would be make the internet your friend. So I feel like sometimes we say, I don't have money for education, I don't have money to go to school and things like that, but there's so many free courses that are available that you can take from home. So make the internet your friend, try to learn as much as possible. We don't know when the pandemic is ending. So make sure that when you come out of this pandemic, you are a better person, you're a wiser person, so that when you are in platforms like this, you're able to speak and say what you really feel. And secondly, it is your race. I feel like it's not a competition, it's your race. You do everything at your own pace, and if you fall, like Lawrence said, you get up and you try again, and nobody's going to do it for you. You need to do it for yourself. You need to stand up for yourself, and you need to be the person that you want your mom to be proud of one day. So do it for yourself, and never forget where you come from. I feel like if you know where you come from, things you understand your own values. And one last thing, have a personal SWOT analysis. Know what you're good at, know your weaknesses, know your strengths, know your opportunities, and know your threats. And yeah, thank you so much for the event, Kagiso. I learned so much, and I do hope it does not end here. I feel like right now we had the foundation. So right now we're going to the world, and we're just gonna showcase who we are. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I'm even lost for words. I'm so consumed into the whole conversations. Just before, guys, please don't leave. There is a live performance. As much as we're living in the internet world, there's a live performance from a handsome guy called Kananela Sehau, who's going to give us a live performance. But last words from me is I'm humbled by everyone who's joined today, because it's not about me, it's not about us, it's about the women agenda, it's about changing the world, it's not about individuals, it's about, this is bigger than us, come to me, it's about changing the world and creating more possibilities for others. And to the panelists, I'm humbled for allowing me to live my purpose, because my life purpose is to change lives and to create possibilities for others. And through you, I'm seeing that happening. I'm living my dream through you. And I'm very, very humbled, and really from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And there is, you know, Oprah put it beautifully. She says, we are all called for a purpose. And our purpose in life is to find what is it that we are called for. And once you find that calling, get into the business of doing it. Because if you don't do it, it might be too late. And I always say to people, it's so sad to see people dying without realizing their calling, without having lived what they've been called for. So it's important that, you know, as young as you are, find what is it that you called for and live your truth, live your purpose. Because it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. To change this world and to be true to yourself, you need to live the truth and live your purpose. Find what is it that you called for. That will be my last word. To find what is it that you called for and live your purpose. And I'll hand over to Kananelo to give us, you know, an item. I don't know if it's got one or two. Over to you, Kananelo. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm
okay,
starting.
Over to you. Okay.
Of love, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, oh, thine is thy kingdom, and the power, and the glory,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Canelo. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. That's how we close today's session. We highly appreciate Canelo. And guys, you can see how Africa has talent. I mean, really, this Africa, and we're still waiting for Europe to show us how to do things when we've got talent ourselves. So this showcasing that we have it in ourselves as Africans to actually make things happen. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for today. See you next time. We'll definitely have another one next time. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.